About 20 years ago, Rotherham Council put out plans to double the population of Anston and Dinnington from over 20,000 to over 40,000, and that meant building all along the A57 to Todwick, nearly connecting Anston and Woodsetts together. There's absolute massive public outcry about that, but we're starting to see developments now. I'm actually on Old Coates Road. This is a new development, and also I've just walked down Leys Lane and they've built houses there. But this issue's coming from 10 million people coming to the UK since 1998, 10 additional million people. I think it's more than that. I think the government figures are wrong. So what happens is they start building on our virgin countryside. I think we're only about 60% food efficient at the moment, and we're just importing more and more people. So I'll quickly walk up the road and show it you, but you can see a limestone, and this area, especially Anston, is famous for the quarries. This is limestone that was used for the Houses of Parliament from the area, went down the Chesterfield Canal. You see the traffic on here. I mean, it's only 8 o'clock in the morning. It's absolutely packed with traffic. Now, I was a mad marathon runner back in the 80s. This was my training ground. I'm only walking along the roads. Probably I'm a bit more cautious being older, but there's too many cars on the road. So you can see the village of Lawton-on-the-Moor out there. That's Lawton All Saints Church. But it's beautiful countryside around here, and I don't think we can afford to lose anymore. Number one is crop growing, number two is for your wildlife, and number three is for us, for like a breathing space. But I don't get it, all these people who live around here, whoever comes out in countryside, I never see anybody. I'm out all the time. So this is the bottom end of the development along the road. It says 2, 3, 4, 5 bedroom houses. So how many of these houses are going to local people? So it gives you an idea of the houses around here. This is why everybody's driving around in cars nowadays, because there's no actual real community when they build these new houses. So, you know, like everything people do, they've got to drive a car. Seems a bit pointless living in the countryside. You might as well go and live in town. But one of the things is, I've worked in warehouses. It's like Pretty Little Thing in Sheffield. It was about 95% foreign, and you'd be lucky if 50% of the people speak English. So we've imported this low-skilled workforce. One is to drive down costs, but also we've ended up putting a lot of our own people out of work in the process by having more labour than actually work. But the thing is, as they start to automate warehouses, we're going to have 10 million people who we no longer need. A lot of those people have took up citizenship, I would think, and we've got another massive social issue that we're creating. So large businesses use immigration to drive down costs with wages. You've got more people than jobs, so you're driving down wages, when we should have actually been increasing productivity, which would have increased our wealth. Back in '98 we should have actually automated things and actually created better jobs, rather than importing labour that's caused so many social problems, but also it's put a lot of British people out of work. I mean, I have a private pension, so I've got the choice of not going into work, and I'm not going to go into work where half the people can't speak English. It's a massive health and safety issue. But here you can see the houses. Now Thropeham is on the back end of Dinnington Comprehensive School, so there was absolutely zero housing, modern housing here. There was just some older buildings when I was at school back in '79, the last time. And what we used to do is we used to run out the back of the school fields, run down this road without high-vis jackets. We just have a couple of the teachers with us who just made sure we're okay, and then we come back in and I'll show you where we came back into the school. But any housing from the 80s and 90s is after I left school. The only buildings that we had around here was these kind of farm buildings here. But you can see that it's called Lawton Gate, and I looked the other day, it said 2, 3, 4 and 5 bedrooms. But my question is, what about some 1 and 2 bedrooms, because that'll free up some of the larger houses that we have in the area. We've got too much of the wrong housing stock a lot of the time. But you can see the older housing, anything that's modern, appeared after the 80s. And I think they built a lot of timber frame houses around here at Thropeham. So I'm just going to show you when we did the marathons. We're on Manor Lane here, and we used to run back into the school this way. So we come out of the field at the bottom, somewhere down there, and then we come back in here and run back down here into school. Imagine them doing that nowadays. But there was a lovely, well, there was an old manor house, and there's some pictures, but I can never remember the manor house here. I think it had gone long before I was born in '64. I just wondering what the sign says up here. Keep your dog on the lead. Why is that? My dog wouldn't like being on lead just there. Oh, my parents' dog wouldn't like it. I'm noticing that more and more. Keep your dog on the lead. But we haven't got a manor house anymore, but we've got Thropeham House just here. It's like I say, it was beautiful, Thropeham. And this side is still like that. But on the left hand side, which I'll show you again in a moment, it's all modern housing. Some of this is timber framed, as far as I know, and there were big problems with it. Well, the left hand side from where I first showed you the housing at the bottom of the field is all either just been built or built from the 80s onwards, so we're just sprawling out more and more into the countryside. You can see the housing down here, and on the other side, yeah, you've got something like a bit industrial-ish or whatever, but this is all your old farming buildings down this side. So it's absolutely beautiful on this side of the road, looking up to Lawton-on-Lamore. And I'll show you the church that used to belong to the manor in a moment. I've shown you Lawton All Saints Church, I think. But I'll show you the other church, and it always puzzled me why we had two churches so close together. But you can see more of the housing here. I've been walking for quite some time along here. I think this was the original housing they built probably back in the 80s and 90s. So we're on Common Road. We just come into what was originally Dinnington just here, or is Dinnington, and then if I just zoom down here, so you can see the modern housing or a bit further down. You can see the modern housing where Fropham starts, so none of that existed at the start of the 80s. That's all new from there downwards. But this is a beautiful spot, but note the amount of car traffic around here. It's absolutely horrendous. It's like everybody just jumps in the car to go to the shops. I mean, I walk to the shops, it might be a mile or two away, and I'd rather walk to the shops, but everybody jumps in the cars nowadays. And that's one of the big issues. Or they have it ordered online, don't they? But this is Fropham Church, and that's why I couldn't understand. This belongs to Fropham Manor, where I showed you the trees that used to run in. And there you can see Lawton All Saints Church. I always wondered why we got those two churches so close together. So that's it really. We can't afford to keep building all over the greenbelt. Like I said, Rotherham wanted to build an extra, well, double the size of Dinnington and Anston 20 years ago. They got absolutely knocked out on that one, but I don't think it's over. And when you've got 10 million people coming in the country, I think we've now got a Labour government who was talking about making house building easy. I think we've got some major issues coming along if we're not careful with building all on the greenbelt. We will have this surplus workforce once AI goes in and automation. An extra 10 million people. I think it's more like 15-20 million extra people in the UK on top of what the government's saying. So that's St John's Road up there. So if you can like the video, follow the channel and click on notifications for new videos in the future. I'd appreciate that.